How's it going, YouTube? It's a beautiful day in my neighborhood. In this video, I'm going to talk about the saga of Dominic Ferry, but most specifically about how it demonstrates what a fraud the mainstream media is. And specifically, I'm going to talk about Politico and Die Welt and demonstrate that these media outlets are completely unethical, disingenuous, and basically fake news. And I talk about these two particular outlets because both of them are among the media that a lot of people might consider to be a little bit more reputable, a little bit more credible, a little bit more balanced. Politico is based in Virginia. Die Welt is based, I believe, Berlin. Ironically, the parent company of Die Welt is Axel Springer, which purchased Politico back in 2021. So actually, they're owned by the same parent company now. Of course, what I'm going to say about Politico goes back from before they were owned by this German parent company. At any rate, let me explain first who Dominic Ferry is. In 2017, he was elected to the Czech Chamber of Deputies, the lower house of the Czech parliament. The European media went bonkers praising the Czech Republic's first black member of parliament. His background is extremely ambiguous. You can dig and dig and dig, and all you're going to find is that his father supposedly was some part Ethiopian, not even entirely Ethiopian. I reached out to my friend Peter in the Czech Republic. He suggested that this guy is just young enough to be the grandson of an African college student who was sponsored by the Soviet Union to come to the Czech Republic. So that's one explanation. So we don't know if he's a quarter African or Ethiopian or half or what, but the media just simply calls him black. Back when he was first elected to the Chamber of Deputies, Politico published this huge thing called the 28 politicians who were most going to shape the future of Europe. Dominic Ferry was number 8. Around the same time, Die Welt published an article titled, "Make Europe Great Again." And they said, here are the 8 politicians that are going to restore faith in the European Union. Number 1 was Emmanuel Macron. Number 5 was Dominic Ferry. Die Welt, in particular, demonstrates that the sole reason the media was promoting this guy was because he was quote-unquote black. And you can just glaringly see this in Die Welt's coverage. They make all these comments about his hair. They talk about his afro mat, his rasta mena or rasta mane. Their coverage sounds like a 14-year-old girl talking about her favorite rock star, about how much she likes her hair and how much she likes his clothes. He's such a great dresser. He's so stylish. And not just these two media outlets, but all across Europe, all the media outlets were constantly describing him as a great jazz musician. And people, they like to gather around and hear him play jazz music. And then none of the articles mention what instrument he plays. I reached out to Peter and I said, what instrument does this guy actually play? He didn't know. I had to dig for a long time just to find out that he plays the piano. So if any of these reporters actually thought he was a great jazz musician, it would have said he was a great piano player who plays jazz. So it's transparently disingenuous. It's all this stuff about, oh, he's great because he has a giant afro and he dresses nice and he plays jazz music, but we don't even know what instrument he plays, but it's jazz, so it must be great. Then in 2018, Dominic Ferry was at a wine tasting party at a vineyard in Czech Republic. And apparently two guys got into a fight. He may have tried to intervene. We don't even know what exactly happened. But he was knocked down and he got a cut on his back. And at the time, he posted on Twitter, he showed this cut on his back. He has a big smile. He's very upbeat. And he's like, presents this injury as collateral damage from two other people fighting with each other. And he says, come on, guys, try to work it out without violence next time. And there's pictures of the other two guys. The one guy in particular, he looks like he was punched in the face at least twice. And two guys are like holding his upper arms. And I don't know if they're holding him for the police or they're helping him stand up. It might be a little bit of both. There's another guy, he also looks like he was punched in the face, and then he's holding up his fist and his knuckles are bloody, and he's smiling. At any rate, the police came, took statements from everyone, and then Dominic Ferry went to some medical facility and got stitches in his back for this cut. Well, suddenly, the media went bonkers, saying he was the victim of a, brutal, racially motivated beating. And I don't know what he told the media after he left the wine tasting event. That's a mystery. So one theory I saw online is that he told one story while he was there, and then while he was getting stitches, he went full Jussie Smollett. I don't even know if that's correct, because if you look at these articles, it's like pure competition with each other. So it starts out that a guy said, hey, I don't like black people being in Czech politics, and attacked him. And then you look at more articles, and then suddenly it's a guy calls him a racial slur and attacks him. And then it's two guys call him a racial slur and attack him. And then his injuries get worse and worse as the media frenzy goes on. And it eventually becomes, Dominic Ferry just wanted to go outside to smoke a cigarette. But that's when two evil white racists berated him with racial slurs and brutally pummeled him until he had to be rushed to the hospital. Where the story is complete nonsense. And so eventually the police said, the statements from everyone at the wine tasting event, no one said it was a racial incident. What's in the media doesn't even match what was told to us. No one was ever prosecuted for any crime. And the guy who, I guess, knocked him down and caused his back to get cut, they apparently made up, and the guy took Ferry to a store and bought him a new dress shirt to replace the one that was ripped. And so it was just utter fake news. I talked to Peter about this, and he said that from what he had personally seen, Dominic Ferry never actually hyped race or really aggressively played the race card himself. In fact, he said that Ferry made some comedy skits where there was some, very light-hearted racial humor that was pretty benign. It wasn't like the, really nasty anti-white stuff we see coming out of America and Britain and Germany and a lot of other places. And it was actually people on the far left that attacked Dominic Ferry over his racial humor. I guess because they wanted him to be real nasty and anti-white. They were saying, oh, you tell us what evil white people we are. But then what happened is after the whole Me Too movement went global, Dominic Ferry comes out, oh yes, we need to support, these women and, strengthen Czech law against sexual assault and whatnot. And then immediately after that, it comes out that he's been under investigation for over a year for attempted rape of a woman that was trying to interview as an intern. And so he resigns from the Chamber of Deputies. In late 2022, he was finally indicted on some criminal charges. A trial began last week. The charges are rape of a minor, rape of an adult woman, and attempted rape of an adult woman. These are for 3 different women. The first one is a 17-year-old girl. Now, he says that they went on a date in 2016, went back to his apartment, and then she got really tired and wanted to lay down, and they slept in the same bed, but nothing sexual happened. The girl says that he tried to pressure her into sex, and she said no. And then he gave her a soda that immediately made her comatose, that it was laced with drugs. And then he sexually abused her body while she couldn't fight back. The second charge, I believe, is also for an alleged rape occurring in 2016. And then the third charge is for the attempted rape of a woman who came to his office to interview to be an intern after he was elected to the Chamber of Deputies. Now, this gets confusing because there's other accusers. I guess they're just prosecuting him on the ones that they have the most evidence for. He also doxed 2 of his accusers, which was another big scandal. But it's confusing which accusers he doxed, if they're among the ones that he's facing charges for or not facing charges for. As an English speaker in America, trying to search the Czech media for information, it's kind of hard. The bottom line, the police invested this guy for years now, and they believe he's a serial rapist. And yet, none of this has been reported outside of the Czech Republic. All these media outlets across the world that were praising this guy went silent a long time ago. So if you go to Politico, you just see this article about how he's going to shape the future of Europe, and then 2 other articles about how, oh, he's the victim of a racist hate beating. All of that's false. It's still there. They never corrected anything. They've never updated it. For them to portray this guy as a hero and a victim and then not report this is completely unethical. And then if you look at De Welt, you see their original thing. Oh, he's number 5, 4 spaces down from Emmanuel Macron in people who are going to restore faith in the European Union. In one article, they call him a beacon of hope. They have 2 entire articles and a video hyping this brutal racial attack on him, never mentioning that it was bullshit. And then never mentioning that he has now been charged with being a serial rapist. So I ask you, Can these be in any way be considered ethical, credible, unbiased media outlets? Can you believe anything they say? Should you have any reason to believe them? All right, thanks for watching this video. Click the like button, post a comment below, tell me what you think about this, and please subscribe to my backup channels on BitChute and Odyssey. Now, I also have a column about this on National Conservative. You can go to natcon.life, natcon.life. And thank you to the people who are supporting me on Subscribestar. And click the subscribe button. New video every few days.